Whiskey, Tango, Foxtrot. These are all code words. What do they mean? You guys are going to have to stay tuned and find out on our Whiskey Cavalier after show.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Welcome, Whiskey Cavalier, new show, new panel. I'm so excited, guys, to be here, to be watching this brand new show on ABC. I'm Linda Antwi, and I have my fabulous co-host.
Hi, I'm Monica Ortega.
I'm Janine Doyon.
Hi, everybody. I'm Monty Bolanos.
So we have Scott Foley as our lead. And I just have to say it was eye candy the whole 45 minutes or whatever it was.
Yes.
So my thoughts is I loved the show. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was kind of goofy. And it was not what I was expecting at all.
Agreed. Not at all what I was expecting, especially the way it was edited, the preview for it. I really thought it was going to be a little bit more cheesy and corny. And the way they presented it, at least for the pilot, I really enjoyed it. And I know earlier we said that Scott Foley hasn't aged. He's aged, but in a good way.
Yeah. And like wine.
Like a fine wine.
And he looks so good.
Yeah. Totally takes me back to Felicity, like all the way.
Exactly.
You know what I loved about him, though, is that I'm so used to him on Scandal because I'm a huge Shonda fan.
Oh, yeah.
And he was so serious. And then it's back to kind of like his comedy roots.
Yeah.
And he's kind of silly and goofy, and I like it.
And, he said about this role, he was like, I like that it's not just this tough guy. I like that it's like, I have to be the sensitive guy and also be part of the FBI. He liked all that. He didn't want to be just a straight, kind of like the guy he played in, Scandal.
Yeah, something different.
Something different, yeah.
Janine, what were your over thoughts?
I'm just really excited to see where this show goes because obviously we were rooting for them to get together, but I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of metaphorical and literal road bumps along the way.
Yeah.
So I'm just really excited to see that sort of relationship development come out.
Yes, I love it. Let's dive into the cast. Since it's a new show, let's just dive into them a little bit so we know who they are moving forward in the season. First, we have Scott Foley. He plays Will Chase, a.k.a. Whiskey Cavalier. And guys, for you guys that are on our podcast, he's known for Scandal, Felicity, True Blood, Grey's Anatomy, and the list goes on and on and on and on. Next, we have Lauren Cohan, and she is gorgeous, and I'm so happy to see her in this role. She plays Frankie Trowbridge, a.k.a. Fiery Tribune, and you know her for Batman versus Superman, The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
All these Walking Dead fans. If you're a fan, you're gonna love seeing her on this show, and The Vampire Diaries. Then we have Anna Ortiz, and I've always loved her as an actor.
Agreed.
I think that she's going to bring the comedy, that dry wit. She plays Susan Sampson, the profiler, and you know her from Ugly Betty, from Devious Maids, from Big Mama, Like Father, Like Son. And she always plays like that kind of quirky but strong character, and I love it about her.
She was great. In this pilot.
Yes, she was. And then we have Tyler James Williams, who plays Edgar Standish, and he is the NSA computer genius / hacker / traitor, maybe. And you know him from Dear White People, Everybody Hates Chris, where he grew up on TV and we saw him, Unaccompanied Minors, and Detroit. And last but not least of the headlining characters, we have Vardas. And he's from Bollywood films. And one that I thought maybe people would really know him from is Mumbai Calling. And he's also known for Delhi Belly. So he's going to be a good addition, I think, to the show as well. He's kind of like the fixer.
Yeah.
So let's just jump right in. So we see in the pilot that Will is having a hard time. He's in a dark room. We've all kind of been there with breakups. He's listening to his favorite song, singing. His place is a mess. And I wrote the note, that apartment is a hot mess.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I was like, what's going on here? And then we learn that his heart is broken and his girlfriend Gigi, and not just girlfriend, but fiance left him. How did you guys feel about that opening scene?
I think, starting off, I actually expected different than you did, Monty. You said you thought it would be cheesier. I thought it was more going to be like an action series, drama. So starting right off with that, I was like, what is this? What is happening right now?
Yeah.
But it definitely got me in that mode that the show kind of carries that tone throughout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think that if you've ever been in a breakup, your apartment has probably looked exactly like his apartment.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, he was a super relatable character, super accessible. I mean, I've been that person in the sweatpants with the wrappers all over the floor. And so then watching him later in the show sort of come out of the sweatpants, so to speak, was really fun. I thought that was a really good way to start off the series.
Yeah. And I mean, he's an FBI agent. I barely have time. I'm not going through a breakup. My room looks like that. And I barely have time. Imagine being an FBI agent and going through a heartbreak. Of course your place looks like that. We're not judging.
Which we thought was funny because he did have an assignment to get to.
Yeah.
So he had to basically snap out of it. And we've all been there where we're like, okay, you know what? We need to like do our job or do our 9 to 5 and get it together, even though we're not feeling it at all. Right? So the first thing we see is him grab his leather jacket and the bulletproof vest and tell a lie, basically. Tell his boss that, yeah, he's all good. He's ready to go. Everything is great. He's cooking with friends. And we know none of that is true, which I thought added to the comedy of that first episode or the first opening scene.
I agree. It really did set the tone
Absolutely.
for the episode just right away.
Yeah.
You could tell it was like, oh, this is going to be a light-hearted dramedy in the form of a cop show, which we have tons of. And they changed it. They took a different angle, which I was not expecting. So so far, like, I'm fully on board.
Yeah.
Fully on board.
I'm on board too, and I gotta say that I was not, because I'm a Law and Order, scandal,
Right.
like real hardcore drama and action person. I like it, and so that's what I was expecting from this show. And it's none of that. Yes, you have the high action sequences, but you have the comedy, and it's that goofy comedy where the characters don't take themselves that seriously. They do, but they don't. And so I thought this is really refreshing because we're not seeing this a lot on TV now, and especially on network TV.
I think that's what I really loved about it is a lot of times I watch the pilots and I always end up picking kind of one drama and one comedy. So this kind of had the best of both worlds for me. I was on board right away.
Yeah, I think it's great. So we then see Whiskey Cavalier, Will, get himself together, and then he's going to go and deal with this traitor. And basically the traitor has this Ebola that's going to just kill the whole world, and he's selling it on the black market. Right? So we see that, and then we see his partner, he's not able to join him, so he has to improvise. And that improvise was the beginning of the action. And so what did you guys think about that? And what did you expect to happen? Because I have my little theory about what happened as he saves the day, but what did you guys think?
Well, I thought it was interesting that right off the bat, he goes rogue. He goes against what they're telling him in his ear. Don't go out there alone. This is, abort mission. And we sort of see that mentality of him going out on his own later in the show, too.
But is it his mentality? Or is he like a Boy Scout and he's gone a little buck wild because he doesn't know how to deal with all these emotions he has from the breakup?
Yeah, I think it's the whole like not caring if something happens to him.
Yeah,
that's
like,
kind of the impression I got. He didn't even think twice. He just was like, all right, I'm in.
Yeah, I think it's this dichotomy. I think what's really rich about his character is that it sort of questions the traditional male cop role and shows a more emotional side of not only his character but of that sort of archetype. And I think he's dueling with this masculine, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna get the bad guy on my own, like I'm in this already, don't stop me. I thought it was really interesting. I think this is probably something he's gonna wrestle with throughout the series too.
Yeah, I think that this whole first season is really going to be about him trying to rein in his emotions and dealing with this straight-laced cop that he's been, and he's also been the best, right? And what's made him the best is being able to empathize but also be professional. And now he's come off the ringers, and so I think that the empathy and the feelings are just going to go buck wild, and that's what we're going to see in this first season, which is compared to Frankie, who basically has attachment issues. I felt like she had a little bit of anger issues, and she's just like a badass. And so the two of them together are, oil and vinegar, but it's fun to watch.
I agree. And Lauren, the actress, could have been a lot more bitchy, let's say. And I think she did it really well. There was something endearing about her, even though she had that attitude. Because it's so easy to be, you know, the rude person and the mean person. That's the easy route. We could all do that. But she made it a little endearing, despite the fact that she is kind of short-tempered, doesn't want to get attached, all of those things. And yet I still was like, wow, I still want to kind of be your friend. I felt like what's her name? The Susan?
Yeah.
Susan in the show.
Yep.
I felt like her. I was like, I think I want you to be my best friend.
Yeah.
That's
It
what I
doesn't
want.
hurt that she's like gorgeous and
Right.
can kick some serious butt either. That definitely doesn't hurt the case.
I thought that this is where you see like she has such strong acting chops, because I agree with you 100%. What I didn't know until the profiler Susan gave her backstory is that she's had a lot of loss in her life. And she played it that way up until the point that we actually found out, okay, this is why she's so aloof. And this is why she's like basically fighting for her life, but not fighting for her life, literally.
I think it's also a little bit of playing with the boys. You know, I mean, she's probably one of the only females in the CIA. She's always trying to prove herself. So she does walk that line really well of not being annoying, where you do actually love her and you're like, I want to be this girl's friend. Teach me everything you know.
Yeah.
So I really liked her.
Yeah, I think it was great. So back to that first action scene. So we see this Scott jump off a bridge because the bad guy jumped off the bridge, and they jump onto this moving boat, and he's going to be threatened with the Ebola virus. And they're chasing, and finally he catches up to the bad guy. The bad guy drops the vial. Now that scene to me where Scott is standing, he does like some crazy backflip over a car, holds out his hand, grabs the tiny red vial, doesn't drop it, saves the world, and that is how it starts. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is so outrageous, but funny.
But fun. And the way it was edited, I think they did a good job, because sometimes you cannot edit intense scenes like that well, where it looks bad. I thought, despite how crazy it is that he caught it, flipped over, and nothing happened, at least it was edited right.
Yeah.
At least I wasn't upset at how it looked.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, we might not believe it.
Yeah.
But at least it looked good. It looked good.
Part of that too is, this is a little trivia, guys. This show was filmed predominantly in Prague, so it wasn't like a set studio, and I think that helps with the reality and what you're seeing.
Yep.
Right.
I think it's a good contrast to the fact that it's so unreal to actually put it in a real space like that. It helps it a little bit without going too cheesy.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then he saves the day. And when you just think everything is great, he gets distracted by love. So we see this proposal in the background. His eyes are going like to the back of his head because he's remembering being in love and having that moment and probably proposing to his own girlfriend / fiance. And he almost gets killed.
I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, wasn't it?
That moment where he's looking at this couple, well done. Writers, I don't know who it was. That was brilliant. It says so much about his character. And you can tell that is foreshadowing that it's going to continue to be a problem.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's going to be a problem for the entire season, I think.
Yeah.
Because that's how we're going to get to know his character, and I think that's how he's going to heal, right? Is that he's going to have to deal with these emotions, and he's going to have to deal how it affects his work persona, right? So we see that, we fast forward, and he has to answer for all the mistakes that he's done, and his partner is basically like, hey, my bad, I had this girl over and got sidetracked. I was like, bro, come on. How do you think I'm doing? I got shot.
Yeah.
And then he's like, was it worth it?
I'm going ahead of it, but like when that happened, I was not expecting the turn at the end of the episode.
Yeah. To know who he was talking about.
Yeah. So in that moment, like I was just like a typical guy. You know, like I didn't think it was significant.
Yeah.
In the moment.
Yeah. And we'll get to that.
Yes.
We'll get to that. What did you guys think?
Oh man. Well, I thought just that whole sequence with the vial flying through the air, the pause to watch the the proposal and then the car chase and bridge jumping and everything. That sequence, within the first 5 or 10 minutes of the show, they packed in every single stereotype about an action movie.
Yeah.
But I didn't hate it. I actually really liked it.
Yeah.
I thought, with reference to Ray, I wasn't surprised. I mean, you could just tell he wasn't going to be reliable. But it's a really nice contrast with Jay's character, who is the only reliable one that then Frankie can rely on. So it kind of gives you this mix of different types of men.
And that
I
was
guess.
a fun tease. So speaking of Jay being the bartender,
Right.
and like with the Russian accent, the whole thing, I had no idea that he was an undercover. I had a suspicion that Frankie was undercover, just the way it was going along, and when she started talking about breaking up, like that's his trigger, right? So I was like, oh, she must be up to something. But to find out that the bartender was actually an agent was actually really cool, I thought.
I agree. And I feel like I forget his character name since it was a pilot, but the guy who's like the traitor, not the traitor, but the one that
Tyler,
hacked.
Edgar.
That Edgar, I feel like is gonna take the place of the guy that was sleeping with Gigi.
Yeah. Oh, she just
he's
spoiled
gonna
it.
take
Yes.
Ray's.
Yes. That's exactly what's gonna happen.
He's gonna take his place as like a buddy, as a co-worker.
Yep.
Essentially.
Yep. So they're going to be an interagency team that is saving the world. That's going to be the concept of the show. So you're going to have an FBI guy, you're going to have a CIA girl, you're going to have an NSA hacker slash computer genius. You're going to have the fixer with the bartender who is Jay. And then you're going to have the profiler, and you need the profiler because you're profiling all these international criminals. I think that's going to be the breakdown.
Wait, so I have a question. Did his friend die though? I'm sorry, is that a spoiler? Am I jumping ahead?
No, it's fine.
Because I thought he was still going to play a really big role in this.
I don't know. I was wondering the same thing.
Yeah.
Did he die?
We'll figure that out in prediction.
Yeah.
That's where we get to
Jumping
at the end
ahead.
of the
Got
show.
excited.
Yes. Okay, so after that, so they're in Paris. All this happens. His boss calls him in and says, hey, well, you know what? You need to take some time off. You are not yourself. You're not performing up to par. And this almost went haywire because you went rogue. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't want to take time off because think about it. You've gone through a breakup. You don't want to sit and wallow in it. You want to stay busy. And even though you hate going to work, you know that going to work is a good distraction, right? So he's like, no, don't take me off. And it wasn't that bad. And he's like, oh, but we have video. Click, click. I was like, no, you didn't. You didn't play that back. Can you imagine? Because you know how, like, you get engaged and it's all, like, on video and it's great, it's great, it's great. But then to be dumped by your fiance and have it play back.
And everyone had seen it. Like, even the hacker was like, oh, yeah, we saw that.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Terrible.
It's the life of a bachelor and Bachelor in Paradise and all that. Like, I was like, oh, I didn't know I was watching Bachelor. Women tell all. Yeah. All right. Let's see each other's breakups. That was rough. I'm just, that's what I thought of.
Hilarious. So the boss says, okay, no problem. I'm going to put you on another assignment. You're going to go to Moscow. You're going to pick up this prisoner who's a traitor of the state. And you have to have him back here. And I think it was 48 or 72 hours, whatever it is. He's like, cool, I'm there. So fast forward, what I like about the show is all the different cities.
Yeah,
like, you know,
agreed.
They were
The traveler
everywhere.
in me was like, yes, keep
Right?
going.
Yeah.
Seriously, I'm a complete travel junkie. And I was like, oh, I've never been to Moscow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's going to do this prisoner pickup. And what I liked about this scene was how he was going to try to be a character. And he was the sprinkler salesman.
Non-fiduciary or
Yes.
something. Something ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was hilarious.
Yes.
And what I thought was great was that Frankie, girls, you guys know, when you've been at a bar and a guy approaches you and he talks to you about nothing, I loved how she just zoned out, because you do that.
Yeah.
You zone out and you start thinking like, how am I going to stop this person from just chatting about nothing?
Talking at me.
Exactly. And doesn't he know that I'm not engaged? And that whole thing went through my head. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah. She did a very good job of that glaze
Yes.
look we get. Where we think we're not being noticed. Oh, we just all realize, oh, so you can't see that when I do that? Okay, cool.
Oh, but you don't care and you're going to keep talking?
Cool.
Cool.
So
That's
it all
good
makes
too.
sense. Got it.
Her eyes, I think, literally rolled all the way back into the back of her head.
Now we know.
Yeah,
Don't
so-
do it. You could tell.
But there was a twist, right? So Frankie, this is where we find out she's an actual undercover FBI agent and competing to get Edgar, who he was in custody, and I want to say with the FBI, but it could have been a different agency. He was in custody, and she wanted custody of him. So she goes and shoots the 2 sleeper agents, takes over, and then Will finds out, oh, hey, I should have probably paid more attention because now I'm like handcuffed to the bar and she's getting away with the prisoner that I'm supposed to have.
Which, that whole thing, she like throws a bomb in the restaurant. It was so over the top. I was like, there's people dodging the explosion.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I did too.
It was very like, do you know what this show reminds me of? It reminds me of Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yes.
They're dynamic.
Totally.
On like, you love them, but you hate them, but you love them and you need them, like that whole thing. And I loved that movie. And so I'm getting a little bit of a vibe of that. So all this extra action, I'm digging it.
It kind of reminded me a little bit of like James Bond meets Austin Powers as well. Like it
Yeah.
was so over the top with it.
Yeah,
And
that's
even the
perfect.
music, it like kind of shifted between the two. It was
The
great.
music was so spot on.
Yeah.
Every song and every car chase or new adventure was just perfect.
Oh,
So shout out.
AC&DC and
Yeah.
a car chase. I was fired up.
So the car chase was it was good. It was good. I wanted to see like the Ferrari though.
Oh,
Right.
It's girls pilot. They're probably like, let's wait until we start showing
Right.
and destroying $100,000 cars.
Right. Let's just destroy the cop car.
just destroy
We're gonna
the
need
cheap-
that Ferrari for later.
Yes. You know they have it there. They're
Yeah.
just waiting. They're
Yeah.
just waiting for it.
It's a good call.
So we get the car chase and the car crash, and then the rest of it is back and forth. So it's Frankie and Will going back and forth trying to take control of the prisoner Edgar and get him back to their headquarters, right? So we have a little bit of that going on throughout the show. What I thought was interesting was when they had that whole relationship. So how are we going to get across the border to Moscow? We're going to pretend to be a relationship while Edgar's in the trunk, and we're not just going to be like boyfriend girlfriend. We just recently got married, which ties in to their relationship with his breakup and her issues like family and being aloof. And I thought, you know what, this is really genius.
I thought one thing about that really stuck out to me is when he got real serious and said, "Do not talk about my mom." I was like, "Ooh, that's coming back."
And then he said, seriously.
"Yeah." I was like, "Something's coming up with that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna get more of that, and I feel like we're gonna find out that maybe she's like also been in a really big relationship that ended. Like, you know, they said she's gone through a lot of loss. I bet you there's a love she's lost.
I think so too, because if we take it back to the bar and how she introduced how she just recently went through a breakup.
Right.
I think that, you know how they always say there's a little bit of truth in any lie or any cover story. So I think that maybe we'll see that moving forward in this season.
But she had the boyfriend, that Russian, the Russian
Yeah,
guy.
I think that guy wasn't really a
Yeah, no,
boyfriend.
I
I
know.
think he was
A booty call.
yeah,
A booty call
friend with
on the
benefits. Yes. A friend with benefits, and the benefits were work benefits to
Yeah.
get her what she needed to get.
There we go. Boom.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about all the action. So it's hand-to-hand combat. We saw a missile launcher. We saw the guns come out like constantly. What did you guys think about the whole action in this whole dramedy?
I'm a big fan of action movies in general and stunts in general. So I'm always watching kind of the behind the scenes, the stunt guys, just to see how it's choreographed. I don't know. That's how my brain works. But I loved it. I loved all the cheesy stuff. The rocket launcher was a lot. I was like, where did that come from?
Right. He just had it in his back pocket. And he's standing like 2 feet away from everyone in the helicopter. And only the helicopter got blown up.
Yeah, standard.
I mean,
Good shot.
Well, it's like Monty said, it's the pilot.
Yeah.
They can't blow up all the goodies right at the beginning.
Yeah, okay. I'm getting greedy, guys. I'm getting a little greedy.
We want more.
Oh, I want more. Speaking of wanting more, this network offers so much
Yeah,
more.
I agree. You know, and before we move on to the next topic, we just really wanted to say thank you to all the AfterBuzzers for really making us the ESPN of TV talk, and for us to continue to grow as hosts for the show, to continue to grow. We kind of need your help and we need your support, and we appreciate every time you guys listen, tune in, tweet us. We appreciate all that. But we just ask, make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, give us a rating, please. You love us already, on iTunes, and leave us a comment. We really, really, really would appreciate all that, because we love being part of AfterBuzz. It allows us to meet people all over the world. It allows us to communicate in a way we can't. So we just want to say thank you for all of your support. And if you can help us by subscribing, by rating, and by leaving us a comment, we'll love you even more.
Absolutely. And guys, we are really interactive. If you've seen us on any of your other shows on AfterBuzz, you comment, we comment back. You like, we like back. We're really interactive and we love our fans. So please continue to do that. Let's move on. So we finally get the prisoner Edgar back, right? And then we realize that there's more to this story. So we get Edgar to the cabin, and his boss, and his name is beyond me right now, but his boss is cooking, right? He's making dinner.
Oh,
and
Ray. Yeah.
So Ray's making dinner, and you see that there's 2 glasses, and they barrel in, and Frankie is shot, right? She's shot, and she's about to die, and they need to fix her, right? So we throw everything off the table, we fix her, we get this knife that he was just cutting it, and we just wipe it with our pants or whatever.
That is one thing that I was like, seriously?
I was like, seriously?
You're worried about septic, but you're
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That you were just cutting cucumbers.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna do this 2-minute surgery that's in and out, and she's gonna go and pass out, and that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's really believable. It's over the top, which is in tune with this, which made me laugh, because when he was talking about oh, look into my eyes, I was like, these 2 are laughing and saying this.
Yeah.
So I cannot take you seriously.
Yeah. That was honestly the only thing that really kind of bothered me, was the knife thing.
Yeah.
Because obviously all this stuff is ridiculous, but you enjoy it or you don't. I enjoyed everything, and then the knife where he just literally just wiped it on his pants. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go in there.
Yeah, trust me, I got you. You don't want to die from septic shock. Oh yeah, but this dirty knife, that's okay.
Yeah.
Didn't even pour some vodka on there. I mean, Ray has vodka sitting around.
Right?
Just
For
grab
real.
that, pour it on, do something.
Nothing, none of that.
No bandages.
Nothing.
No stitches.
Right, that's what we said. So afterwards, you don't I've seen enough spy shows. You get some salt and put that salt on the wound.
Burn it.
None of
Right? Grey's Anatomy, we've all seen that.
Right.
Come on.
Right. But, we're all good. So Ray comes back, and we find out that Will really has been betrayed. And Ray's his best friend. He's like, oh, was I interrupting? And then we see Honey comes home, and it's Gigi. And Gigi, as we all know from the pilot, is Will's ex-fiance. And they've been together for 7 months.
7 months.
That's what Edgar said. You need to step all the way down, because 7 months.
I love that when she was about to jump in there,
Yeah.
and Edgar just was like, he's all tied up, he can't do anything.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, just no.
Yeah.
7 months. Sit down.
Yeah. And she knew she was in the wrong, and was like, you're right.
Loved that.
So we get the bro fight over the girl, and then the big boss comes in, and that's when the real drama happens. And long story short, there was a traitor. It wasn't Edgar. It was the boss.
Named in the show, his name is Alex.
And Alex was the big bad, like I like to call them. He's the worst. And he pulled out Edgar's tooth. He got the chip. And then he wanted to basically kill everyone. I was like, you can't kill everyone. This is the pilot.
Right.
So
Can you imagine?
Someone's got to die. It's got to be you. But that would have been hilarious.
That would have been, and then
Right?
the next show, it's all a different cast.
Right. All these people are dead, so you're gonna have to be this, and you're gonna have to be this, and we're gonna go a full on FBI,
But keep Scott
CIA.
Foley.
Hey,
Make him survive somehow.
guys, it was great. So overall, I loved it. I'm excited about the second episode, but let's jump in to what we like to call Heat versus Heart. Who's going to be Heat? Heat is obviously Frankie, and Heart is Will. And in this segment, guys, it's all going to be about relationships because this show, even though it's a dramedy and it's about action and FBI, at the end of the day, it's about the relationships between the two main characters and whether they'll get together or whether they won't get together. So, you ladies ready for the first question?
Yes.
First question. Is it important for your partner to understand how you're feeling?
Nah. No, I'm just kidding. Just seem the obvious.
Quick.
I mean, obviously, yes.
Yeah.
Why?
Yes, because that's miscommunication. If not.
Okay. What do you say?
You can avoid a lot of conflict if you're able to recognize what your partner's emotional state is.
Yes, absolutely. Because otherwise you start assuming things that may not exist.
Okay. I'm going to move on. I'm saving that for the end. Okay. Do opposites attract and last?
Yes. It keeps things interesting.
I think for lust, yes. I think for love, compatibility and similarity is a really good foundation.
I think yes to a point, depending on how opposite they are, is how long they'll last.
Okay. Third question. Is it important for partners to share the same values?
Oh, well, yes, especially though if you have kids.
Yes.
I think if kids are not involved, you can make it work depending on the values.
So if you're in a relationship, aren't you moving towards like the happily ever after?
Why does it have to have a kid?
Okay. Ooh.
I don't know if I'm just saying for me, and I can say this for me, I don't know if I ever want kids.
Excellent. Okay.
So
I
that's
get
why
it.
I'm saying that. You
I
know?
get it.
I think it depends what the value is. I think if one person's very religious and the other person's not at all or very critical of religion, that's not going to work. But if it's a matter of education level, you can work through some of that stuff.
I think it very much matters. It depends on how many you line up on and how important the ones you don't matter.
So is it a conversation that you have in the beginning while it's all lusty and hot, or do you have it after you've been together for 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever?
I don't know if there's really a timeline, for that. I think it really depends on how your relationship is going, because if you feel something immediately, like it might come up early, organically. You can't force those conversations.
Good answer. Good answer. How important, question 4, how important is kissing in a relationship?
Super!
So important.
Get out of here.
Gotta have that chemistry.
Goodness.
I mean, you can have I am just talking. I'm not speaking from any type of experience, but you can have killer chemistry and the kissing be off.
Oh, well, I don't know.
No, meaning like it can be off. Like you could have chemistry and then you kiss and you're like, whoa, what happened?
Oh, that's so disappointing.
It happens. Does it happen? I think it happens.
It definitely
Yeah.
happens.
I think also if you're getting to know someone else's style, they're going left, you're going right. You have to sort of learn what the other's moves are.
I think that the best kissing situations is when it's organic and you guys automatically just gel. It happens and it can be amazing.
It can. But even if you're like not necessarily going right and left at the same time, the chemistry, you'll still know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there was one time, an old boyfriend, our first kiss was awful, but it wasn't like because the chemistry wasn't there. It was like he went in too hard, almost bit me. Like it was like super weird, but the chemistry was still there. So then the second time he's like, all right, we're gonna do this right. Like it was, and then it all worked out. So you know, the chemistry is either there or not.
Yeah.
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 You can have chemistry and still accidentally bite someone. I know from experience.
I mean, you could have chemistry and you ever have someone who, how can I say, it's like he's like a person's like a pecker.
Oh,
like like a lizard. There it is. And you're like, what is happening? Oh,
that would be it for me. I'd be out. I'd be like, this was fun.
I don't think Scott fully kisses like that.
I don't think so either.
Neither.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Fifth and last question for today in our Heat and Heart section. Do you think couples' finances should be together or separate?
Oh, this is a big one.
Oh.
All right, go.
Together.
How long have they been together?
No, none of that. Together or not together. That's it.
Together.
Together, depending on depending on how bad the person's finances are. Get that sorted and then put them together.
Okay, you see
No
where all these
experience
three are
at all
coming
here.
from.
In the end, it should be together.
It should be together.
Yes.
I know that a lot of women have a rainy day fund that's separate and apart, but I think it should be together.
And that's cool. Like you can have, I think
Yeah,
you can have your own separate, but then there's one main one you share.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I agree. Have someone, both of you have your own little one
Yeah.
on the side. Go
Yeah.
shopping, right? I don't need to see how many shoes I buy.
For real. That's
know?
been there. What are you talking about? That jacket has been there. You just haven't seen it.
You just
yet.
haven't seen it.
Moving on, guys. Let's get into some news and gossip.
Okay, so
AfterBuzz TV News.
Okay, so a lot of exciting and interesting stuff behind this first episode. Did you guys know that Scott Foley and Lauren Cohen did not actually meet before they were both signed onto the show? So they did not do a chemistry test to see if their on-screen chemistry would
I
match.
actually did know that. And guys, if you watched my pilot review, and if you haven't, you should watch it. We just did it earlier today. All the behind the scenes people have worked together. So they know Scott's work and they know Lauren's work. And indirectly, all of these actors have worked together. They may not have worked together like Scott and Lauren, but Lauren and I'm calling him Edgar by his show name. Lauren
Tyler
worked
James
with
Williams.
Tyler, yep. And the EP, who is Bill, he's worked with Scott. And Peter has worked with Bill. Like they've all
network
they're
shows.
connected. So I think that if you put that in perspective, you would know like, hey, this person might get with this person, like a matchmaker.
But that's a risk.
Yeah, that's a
I
big
had
risk.
that is a risk to do.
Well, you know what they did to help make sure that we never had an idea of that is they actually had weekly family dinners every Sunday night at Scott Foley's house.
I love that.
Yeah.
They're so precious.
Isn't that
that.
sweet?
I love that.
So some Twitter user actually asked Scott Foley earlier today whether any of his Scandal castmates would make an appearance later in the season, and he said that it's definitely a possibility.
I heard
So-
that too.
I love that.
I heard that too, and I actually heard that it might be on episode 2.
Ooh.
Also, the idea for the show, because it's so quirky and fun, actually came from a real life situation with the creator and head writer, Dave Hemmingson. So he said he got a call in the middle of the night from his friend who's in the FBI, was coming off of some terrorist mission in Saudi Arabia, but was going through a breakup and was so upset he had to call his friend Dave. And so he thought, hey, this would make a great TV show. And I'm so glad that he made that call because now we have this great show. Yeah. And the last sort of fun thing is that Scott and Lauren were tweeting about your own spy names, your own Whiskey Cavalier spy name. So there's actually a formula. It's your favorite drink
Okay.
and the name of your first pet.
All right, let's do it. Favorite drink, first pet.
Tequila Rex.
Oh, that's good.
So I am a Dirty Martini fan, so I'm going to be Dirty Midnight.
Oh, that's really good.
a little saucy.
Mine's not as good. Beer brandy.
Beer brandy.
I feel like I just made a new drink that sounds terrible.
And I am going to be Bellini Bobby. Guys, you can refer to us with those names moving forward.
Yep.
We'll have little placards
So you
moving on,
can
so you guys
see.
can remember and see for next time. So we all have our spy names. Guys, in the comments, tell us what your spy name is, and then we'll all just relate to our spy names only, code names only.
Yeah.
Moving forward. Last but not least, let's get into some quick predictions.
Your
moving
AfterBuzz
into
TV
episode 2.
predictions.
What do you have?
All right, predictions. So I am gonna say that Ray, what was it, Ray?
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna say Ray's alive.
Okay.
I'm gonna say he's alive, and then you said that possibly somebody from Scandal is gonna join Whiskey Cavalier. I'm gonna say that it's gonna be. Oh my gosh! Hold on, you go.
I think that Susan is going to sort of unmeaningfully become part of a love triangle. I think that she's going
That was
to
mine.
come out with having feelings
Yep.
for Will Chase.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, for Will. Okay.
That's so good. I don't even know.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
Me off
So
guard.
I'm gonna piggyback on that a little bit. I think that Susan, who already has a work crush on
Frankie.
is gonna develop that work crush a little bit more. But Frankie is going to have these mixed feelings about Will, and that's going to be their love triangle. And I think that Edgar is going to be a little bit more of a lead role moving forward because he's big comedy relief. And I think that he's going to become like bros with Will. He's going to be Will's new bestie.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I think I couldn't think of his name. That's why. But I was thinking of the Scandal cast. Guillermo Diaz, who played Huck.
Oh, that'd be
That's
so
who
good.
I think would fit really well.
That'd be so good.
Into Whiskey Cavalier, because we know Kerry Washington's not going to make an appearance.
But what about
We already know
Bellamy?
Which one?
Bellamy, the girl, the
Oh yeah, Quinn.
yeah.
Quinn. I thought of her too. I just feel like Guillermo does this type of thing of maybe like being a guest star on a show.
Well, we'll find out next week.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Let's continue the discussions online. You can find me all across social media at Linda is so girly.
And you can find me at Monica Goes Show.
At Janine Doyon.
You can find me across social media at Monsi Bolanos.
Pilot show, we loved it. Our new show. Make sure you guys tune in next week. We are here at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every Wednesday for Whiskey Wednesdays. We'll see you then, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.